Both India and China are Asian giants. The role in the world has triggered the global order to reshape and restructuring in the recent decades, and that will continue for quite a long time from now. The 21st century will not be the same once these supernations have reached their full potentials. These two heavyweights are rapidly evolving. It is very interesting to find out the updates how much they have achieved in their journey so far. In this video, I want to compare the basics between these two super neighbors. Let's move on. First, let's have a look at the geography. China is the world's third largest country. It is the largest country in Asia, excluding Russia, by geographical area. It has an area of 9.59 square million kilometers, and the country spans about 5,000 kilometers from east to west and 5,500 kilometers north to south. India is the world's seventh largest country and the second largest in Asia. India's geography is about 3.28 million square kilometers. The country extends about 2,900 kilometers from east to west and more than 3,200 kilometers north to south. India has only one time zone. China, on the other hand, has five time zones. Beijing time is taken as the standard time zone of China. Both India and China are billion-plus nations. India is the most populous nation with 1.46 billion people. China stands at a close second spot with 1.4 billion people inside its borders. India is a multinational country spoken hundreds of languages. Chinese, on the other hand, are consisted of about 91% Han Chinese. 80% of the population in India are Hindus. Muslims population with 14% form the largest minority groups, followed by Christians at 2.3%. In China, more than 50% of the population do not follow any religion. Close to 21% of the Chinese follow folk religions, 18% Buddhists, and 5.2% Christians. Sex ratio is the number of women per 1,000 men. India's sex ratio is the worst in the world. This is a challenge of their own biased male child preferences over the females, which is a prevalent custom, particularly in the northern parts of India. In China, 65% of the country's population lives in urban centers, whereas in India, only 35% lived in towns and cities. Most Indians are still stuck in the rural neighborhoods doing land-based or primary sector activities. India is divided into 28 states and 8 union territories for the ease of administrations. States have more administrative powers, having its own assemblies and independent law-making bodies on the listed subjects. The union territories have less autonomy and are under the direct influence from the Indian government, from the Indian Union government. On account of its complicated recent history following the revolution and the resolution of the Chinese Empire, China is divided into a number of designated provinces with various degrees of autonomy. China is divided into 22 provinces, 5 autonomous regions, 4 municipalities, and 2 semi-autonomous special administrative regions. The two neighbors have polar differences in political systems. India is a democratic republic, whereas China is a socialist republic or a communist country. The legislature of India is called the parliament, whereas in China it is called the National People's Congress. Both India and China, the highest government official is the president, and the highest executive head in India is the Prime Minister of India, at present served by PM Narendra Modi. In China, the General Secretary of the Chinese Communist Party is the paramount executive leader. Mr. Xi Jinping is the President and the General Secretary of China. India has a beautiful Great Deccan Peninsula in the south facing the Indian Ocean to the north and the northeast, and its west. It shares international borders with seven nations including China. China has a long coastline in the eastern part of the country towards the ocean. China shares border with 14 countries including India. China has 22,457 kilometers long international borders with its 14 neighboring countries. India has 15,101.7 kilometers long international borders with its seven bordering countries. These two Asia's great shared borders between them, which is long and rough, of about 3,488 kilometers from Arunachal Pradesh, India in the east to Kashmir in the west. India coast span about 11,098 kilometers in the Deccan Peninsula. China has about 14,500 kilometers coastline. Two of the four cradles of civilizations are located, one each in India and China. Basically, both these countries are products of their prehistoric civilizations. India has the Indus Valley Civilization, which flourished between 3300 BC to 1800 BC, and the first empire that unified most of India was the Mauryan Empire, started in 322 BC. China has the Yangtze civilization between the period 4000 BC to 2200 BC, and the first Chinese empire belonged to the Jin dynasty that starts from 259 BC. The modern history that shapes the present India was started with the struggles for independence from the British colonial rules 1857, and India gains freedom on 15 August 1947 under the leadership of Mahatma Gandhi. The China's modern history was marked by the Opium Wars and the unequal treaties which lead to the transfer of power from the emperor to the Chinese people during the Chinese Revolution in 1911, and finally to the creation of the People's Republic of China 1949 under the leadership of Mao Zedong. Mahatma Gandhi is the national hero of India. He is popularly known for his non-violence movement. Mao Zedong is the national hero of China. He is popularly known for his unprecedented cultural revolution. In economic comparison, China is the world's second largest economy after the United States with $19.23 trillion nominal GDP, and India is the world's fourth largest economy with $4.18 trillion nominal GDP. However, in terms of GDP PPP, China is the world's biggest economy with 40 plus trillion dollars, and India is the third largest economy with 17 plus trillion dollar economy in terms of GDP PPP. China is leading India in per capita income both by nominal and PPP adjustment. With regards to the foreign investment inflow, India is two times more favorable compared to China's in 2025. India is able to bring more FDI than the Chinese. However, in terms of the imports and exports volumes, China is at multiple times greater to India. The contribution of different sectors of economy is an indication of the economic well-being of a country. Agriculture contribution to the GDP in China has decreased to less than 7%. This shows that China has diversified its workforce from rural agriculture to urban-based production activities. In India, agriculture output share to the GDP is still in double digits. India has a long way to go in order to diversify the workforce, from the low-income agriculture to more high-income activities like in the manufacturing and services. China manufacturing is the largest in the world, contributing 28% of the world manufacturing, yet the manufacturing production share to its GDP is only 40%. India is the world's fifth largest manufacturing nation. India's share to the global manufacturing production is less than 3%, but this sector contributing to about 27% of India's GDP. In service sector, both India and China have a more or less similar percentile contribution to their respective economies. Poverty in India is still a challenge. The population of India that earns less than $3 per day is significant with 5.28%, which is equivalent to about 77 million people in the country are living in extreme poverty. About 80% of the population, or about 1168 million people in India, earns an income less than $8.5 per day. In China, about 21%, or 300 million people, earn less than $8.5 per day. India has a better employment opportunity than China. The unemployment of youth less than 29 years of age, excluding students, in India is at 10.2%, but in China it is about 14.5%. If we compare the national expenditure on some key sectors, both the countries spend more or less similar share of the GDPs towards education. China's spending on building infrastructure like roads, railways, dams, and so on is about $4 trillion. India spends only about 30 times less than what China's are spending. In defense, too, China outspent India by $172 billion. So, what do you think after seeing and heard of all these differences between India and China? Please let us know in the comment sections below. And if you like videos like this, please don't forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe buttons so that you can get updates whenever I upload new and exciting videos. Your viewerships and support means a lot to me. Thank you so much for watching.